You already cleaned the table. Twice. You were literally about to leave the room until your eyes caught one tiny spot near the corner. Now suddenly, you can't stop thinking about it. So instead of leaving, you end up cleaning the entire table all over again. Because now your brain keeps whispering, if I missed that, what else have I missed? Here's what nobody tells you about people who love cleaning. They're not chasing a clean house, they're chasing a quiet mind. And those are two completely different things. But here's the strange part. The people who clean the most aren't always the people who care most about cleanliness. Sometimes they're the people carrying the most stress, the most unresolved emotions, or feelings they've never fully learned how to put into words. In this video, we're going to look at what's actually driving that behavior. The stress, the childhood experiences, the way some people express love without ever saying it out loud, and by the end, you'll probably see cleaning, and the people who do it, very differently. Because once you understand the real pattern, it's surprisingly hard to unsee. It's almost midnight, everybody else in the house is already asleep, but one person is still in the kitchen, wiping the same counter they already wiped 20 minutes ago. Not because the house is dirty, because something is still buzzing inside them and they don't quite know how to turn it off. And here's the part that catches most people off guard. Watch someone after a difficult phone call, after an argument that didn't get resolved, after a day where everything felt slightly out of control. Many people won't sit down and process what happened. They won't call a friend. They won't cry. They'll start cleaning something. Watch what someone does after bad news. It often tells you more than what they say. And they might not even realize they were stressed until they're already halfway through reorganizing a shelf. The cleaning starts before the person knows something is wrong. The body notices the tension before the mind admits it. Maybe that's not you, or maybe you just recognized exactly what that feels like. Because here's what's actually happening inside that person at midnight. When life starts feeling unpredictable, a difficult conversation, a decision you can't stop replaying, a low-level anxiety you can't quite name, the brain starts searching for something it can control. Something with a beginning, a process, and a visible end result. Unlike relationships, unlike anxiety, unlike most of real life, you clean the counter. Now it's clean. You organize the shelf. Now the room feels lighter. The result is immediate, undeniable. Your actions changed something in the world, and your brain, which has been spinning all day searching for proof that your effort matters, finally gets that proof. That's not just cleaning. That's the mind self-regulating, rebuilding a sense of control, one surface at a time. For certain people, the urge to clean is basically a stress detector. They don't check their heart rate. They don't journal. They reach for the sponge, and somewhere in that motion, they start to feel like themselves again. And the effect goes beyond the object you cleaned, because clutter doesn't affect every brain the same way. Some people can leave dishes in the sink for 2 days and feel nothing. Other people walk into a room with tangled cords near the TV, an unopened package on the floor, a cup on the desk since yesterday, and feel tension building before they even understand why. Every unfinished object quietly competes for attention. Every misplaced item whispers, "You haven't dealt with me yet." For certain people, that background noise is exhausting. Cleaning isn't a chore, it's relief. The room finally stops demanding attention, and for the first time all day, the mind can actually rest. But for some people, this goes much deeper than stress management, because the need for control didn't start last week. Some people grew up in homes where everything felt emotionally unpredictable, arguments erupting without warning, mess constantly piling up, adults overwhelmed and unavailable, nothing feeling stable for very long. A child living in that environment doesn't just witness chaos, they absorb it. They learn, somewhere deep in their nervous system, that the world isn't safe, that things fall apart without notice. So later in life, they build the calm they never had. You can see it in the small rituals people become almost protective of. Making the bed every morning without fail, cleaning the kitchen before going to sleep even when exhausted, straightening objects on a desk automatically mid-conversation. Those rituals aren't about tidiness. They're not about impressing anyone. They're quiet messages to a nervous system that learned chaos too early. This space is safe now. You can relax here. And this is also why people sometimes get unexpectedly emotional while decluttering. Because they're not just deciding whether to keep an old shirt, they're deciding whether to hold on to the version of themselves who used to wear it. A messy drawer can quietly hold years of postponed decisions. Boxes sitting untouched for months aren't just clutter, they're unfinished conversations with the past. People think decluttering is physical, but sometimes it feels like deciding which version of yourself you're finally ready to let go. And that's not a small thing. That's one of the hardest things a person can do quietly, alone, without anyone watching. And then there's a third layer, one that has nothing to do with the mind at all. Some people don't process difficult emotions through thoughts first, they process them through movement. After a painful conversation, after something that left them feeling hollow and tight, they don't sit and think, they start moving, scrubbing, organizing, putting things back where they belong. The physical rhythm of cleaning, the back and forth, the repetition, the predictable motion, does something to the body that thinking simply can't reach. It's like the hands already know what to do when the brain doesn't. Think about that for a second. The body starts healing before the person even decides to, and somewhere in the middle of scrubbing a bathroom or folding laundry, the tightness slowly starts to drain. The mind stops replaying the conversation long enough to breathe. That's why some people say they think more clearly while cleaning. Not because cleaning solved anything, but because the body finally found a way to move through something the mind was stuck on. It's not avoidance, it's processing, just not the kind anyone teaches you about. And here's something most people never think to consider. A parent staying up late to clean the kitchen after everyone is asleep. Someone vacuuming before guests arrive even though the floor was already fine. A person quietly restocking the fridge the night before their partner comes home, exhausted from a trip. These actions look minor from the outside, but they're not really about cleanliness. For some people, cleaning is a love language that never had a name. Nobody taught them to say, "I love you" directly, so they say it with a swept floor, with folded laundry left on the bed, with a kitchen that smells like effort. They're acts of care that never found the right words, a way of saying, "I thought about you before you even walked in. I wanted your space to feel good. I did this so your day could feel a little lighter." For some people, a clean home is how they love. It's how they create warmth, a place where people can exhale without explaining why. And this is exactly why, when someone treats those spaces carelessly, it can feel so unexpectedly painful. It's not about the mess left behind, it's that the care behind the cleaning just got overlooked. The hours of quiet work, the thought that went into it, the love that never got said out loud. For some people, that is the loudest way they know how to say, "You matter to me." So here's the real picture of someone who loves cleaning. They're not a clean freak. They're not chasing perfection. Most of the time, they're just trying to feel okay again, trying to build a small corner of predictability in a world that keeps refusing to cooperate, moving their hands through something manageable while the rest of life catches up. Because cleaning is rarely just about the house. It's about finally feeling like something is under control. Even if it's just one surface, even if just for tonight, even if nobody else in the room will ever notice what it took to get there. So ask yourself honestly, do you actually love cleaning? Or do you just feel uncomfortable when things stop feeling controlled? Because sometimes the people who clean the most aren't trying to impress anyone. They're not trying to be perfect. They're trying to quiet something inside themselves that never quite learned how to be still. And if the way someone cleans a house can reveal that much about what's happening inside them, imagine what it says about the way they learn to survive everything else. They're doing it for the quiet,